We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Verses be thumping, shofars be blowing, beat be steady. Word power every hour, truth already. Blended deep secrets keep fools unsteady. We elevate till your fate be ready. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with part 2. I am Ak Jimmy. We are the ambassadors of Yah, and that's what we're doing now. This is going to be our question and answer segment, and I will be playing music here and there. Some of you have brought music to me, and so we're going to be playing some of those here for our listeners to hear, and for you to also build your catalog with clean, set-apart Kadash music. And so with that being said, let us go ahead and continue. So anyone have any questions from not only what we just read earlier, from our last segment, from the calendar to the millennial reign, to the people of the book, whatever it is that's on your heart, I'll try to tackle it one at a time. Yanet, you say, when Yahuah cracks the sky, is that when the tribulation begins or ends? That's when it ends. Book of Revelation. In fact, let me read it clearly for you in some other translations, because, again, many of us have been introduced to this time of trouble as the word tribulation. So let me show you here in Matthew chapter 24, Akodi Yanet, so you can see when he returns, when this is going to be. Again, so your question was, when Yahuah cracks the sky, is that when the tribulation begins or ends? So you're going to get your answer right here. Matthew 24, verse 29. Matthew 24, verse 29 says this. Oh, I'm in 23. 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall not fall, the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the Shamayim shall be shaken. And then shall the appear of the sign of the son of Adam in the Shama. This is his second coming. This is when he cracks the sky that you're talking about, Yanet. And then shall all the tribes of the Arats mourn, and they shall see the son of Adam coming in the clouds of Shama with power and great esteem. And he shall send his angels, his Malachim, with a great sound of a shofar. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the Shama to the other. So you see here, Yanet, it is after and not before. He cracks the sky immediately after the tribulation of those days. What else we got here? What other questions or comments? I'm reading from the King Jimmy James. Exactly. Alex, back up. Back up. Makodi Jackie, what is your question? Yes, Ren, the mark is coming soon. Yes, the physical mark. All right. 144,000 will be taken before the time of trouble. Yes, they will. Yes, Amadora. The two witnesses, does that mean us, where two or more are gathered? No, Don. Two witnesses is something totally different. Let me answer this question first. Jackie, you said, I know this might be a silly question. Is boarhead bristle brush unclean? Oh, well, we're told not to eat of it, right? And nor are we supposed to touch the carcass of an unclean animal. The bristles have been through some changes, I guess you would. They've been cleansed. That's a great question. I don't know if I would use a boar head as the parts of the bristles of the brush. I couldn't answer that question. That's I mean, if I had to guess, I would say probably not, but don't hold me to that. Okay. So somebody else says here, what was that question that was asked? Oh, you guys are bringing these things in fast. Let me see if I can handle this. Okay, so the two witnesses, that's what we're talking about, Don. Yeah, so the two witnesses, again, there's a lot of thoughts on the two witnesses from the book of Revelation, chapter 11. Okay, I've heard everything from the two houses of Israel, the northern tribe, the southern tribe. I've also heard people say that it's the wild olive branch or the wild olive tree and the natural olive tree. I've also heard Elijah and Moses. I've also heard Elijah and Enoch. All of these are all assumptions and opinions. The only thing that I can tell you is two witnesses will be here. To me, they seem to be two individuals, not two groups of people. Who they are, I have no idea. I can speculate, but I have no idea. Okay. And again, you can read about that in Revelation chapter 11 about the two witnesses, how they're going to be unalived by Satan and their bodies are going to be seen for 3 days. They're not going to be buried, and then that they're going to be resurrected. Okay. Now, I have heard people go so far as to say that the two witnesses, not only are they the house of Yasharal and the house of Judah, but they go on to say, let me just read this passage here. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11. They go as far as to say, this passage right here of Revelation chapter 11, verse 9. Let me bring that up a little bit. And some of the peoples and tribes and languages and nations will see their bodies for 3.5 days and not allow their dead bodies to be placed in tombs or to be buried. And those dwelling on the earth rejoice over them and exult, and they shall send gifts to each other. I've heard people literally connect this to Christmas. Okay, because the two prophets tortured those dwelling on the earth. I don't know how they make that stretch other than that they're giving gifts to one another, but I don't believe that is Christmas. Okay, I truly believe that this is two individuals who are going to be prophesying from Jerusalem. When that day is, I don't know. And the reason why we know it is because here it says, and their dead bodies, the two witnesses, they shall be lying in the streets of the city, which spiritually is called, not physically, but spiritually called Sodom and Mitzrayim, or bondage. Okay. Where also our master, our Messiah, was impaled. So this gives us the geographical location where our master was impaled, or in some of your translations, crucified. So this lets us know it's Jerusalem geographically. So these two witnesses shall be there. Okay. And of course, you guys probably seen some of these movies where they're by the wailing wall that they call the Western Wall, and they got fire coming out of their mouth and all this other stuff that you see from these Left Behind movie series and stuff. Again, that is all Christian Hollywoodism. According to scripture, these two people, are going to be doing all kinds of things. These possess authority, verse 6, to shut the heaven so that no rain falls on the days of their prophecy. No rain falls on the days of their prophecy. And they possess authority or power over the water to turn them to blood, to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they want to or wish. Okay. Now we know when we go to I believe it's in Yahudah, also known as Jude. It says here that, let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Where is it? Is it Yahudah? Was it in Jude? Let me think here. Oh, no. It's in the book of Yaqub, James. Give me a second, you guys. I'm trying to think here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that passage where my brain is not serving me well today? Oh, here it is. No, is that it? Where is the passage? Oh, I'm in the wrong book. That's why I can't find it. Give me a second, all of you. I got to get back over here. I don't know what I was looking at. I thought that was in the book of Yaqub, but I wasn't. Okay, so the passage that I wanted to connect with this is, let me see if I can find it here. Why can I not find it? Oh yeah, here it is. James chapter 5. So here it talks about, again, notice what it says here in Revelation chapter 11, that they're able to do these miracles, okay? And one of them, it says, and they possess the authority over waters to turn them to blood. Oh, no, let me back up. These possess authority to shut heaven so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy. So if we go here to the book of Yaqub, also known as James, chapter 5, it says this here. Eliyahu, that is Elijah, was a man with feelings like us. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3 years, 6 months. 3 years, 6 months. That's 42 months or 1,260 days, according to Yahuah's calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. So again, this is why some people believe that Eliyahu or Elijah may be one of the two witnesses, because again, Eliyahu never did pass away. Now, the other one that they say could be the one who is one of the two witnesses is Masha, because you remember Masha, by his hand, Yahuah turned water into blood, and he smit the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues as often as Yahuah wished. Okay, so Masha could be the other one. Moses could be the other of the one of the two witnesses. I can't be dogmatic about it, but that's who I would probably lean on, is those two. Some people would say it's Enoch and Elijah because both of those were told reportedly that they'd never seen unaliving or death. So it could be them two as well. But to say that they're two groups of people, I used to think that. I even entertained that thought for a while. But again, as I start to see how scripture is very clear about what's going to happen to these two witnesses, I cannot say that the two witnesses are two groups of people. Because again, if we were to symbolically say that they were two groups of people, okay, and we're not given anything here in chapter 11 of Revelation to say otherwise, that it's two groups of people. Starting here in verse 3, and I shall give unto my two witnesses, they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that are standing before Aluah Elohim of the earth. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out of their mouth and consumes their enemies. Now, with all that being said, if we are those two groups of people, if we are the witnesses of the two groups of people, why have we been given over to the hand of Satan for 3.5 years by the anti-Messiah? Because he, as we read in Revelation chapter 13, is going to wage war against us, and he's going to overcome us. What does it say here? And it was given to him, that is the anti-Messiah, to fight with the set apart ones, that's you and me, the Kadashim, to overcome them. And authority was given to him over every tribe, nation, or language and nation, and all those dwelling on the earth whose names was not or has not been written in the book of life of the slain lamb from the foundation of the world shall worship him. That is the dragon, the anti-Messiah. Okay, so we can't be the ones who are over here in one hand doing all of this stuff, and then in the other hand we're all being persecuted for 42 months. Okay, because these two are not being persecuted for 42 months. They're doing the persecuting with all these plagues as much as they wish. Okay, and then at the end of their ministry, after they have prophesied to many people, they're going to be unalived by Satan himself. Again, it says this, and they're and when they had ended their witness, verse 7, chapter 11, the beast coming up out of the pit, that Satan of the deep, shall fight against them and overcome them and unalive them. And their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Mitzrayim, or Egypt, where also our master was impaled. And some of the peoples and the tribes and the languages and the nations see their dead bodies for 3.5 days. Now, I've heard people say, well, this 3.5 days could represent a day for a year, so 3.5 years. I've also thought about that. I've entertained that as well. But here's where the problem happens. And not allow their dead bodies to be placed in tombs. That means if we are those people, when the time comes, let's say this starts happening at the Great Tribulation. Are you telling me that they're not going to bury the dead, those of us who've been unalived, in the name of Yahushua for 3.5 years? Do you know what happens to a body in a 3.5 year period? What's going to happen to that body when it decays? All you're going to have left is bones. That's all you have left. But notice what it says here. They're not allowed to put their dead bodies in tombs or burial. And those dwelling on the earth rejoice over them and exalt. And they shall send gifts to each other. Okay, what are they going to do that for 3.5 years? Because the two prophets tortured those dwelling on the earth. And after the 3.5 days, the spirit of life, or the breath of life from Yahuah Elohim, entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them. And they heard a loud voice from the Shammah saying to them, come up here. And they went up into the Shammah in the cloud, and their enemies saw them. And in that hour there came to be a great earthquake, 1/10 of the city fell, and in the earth 7,000 men, and in the earthquake 7,000 men were unalived, and the rest became afraid and gave their esteem to Yahuah Elohim of the Shammah. This is the first woe. The second woe is past. See, the third woe is coming. So this had to do with the second woe. Okay? This was the second woe. So if we go back, the first woe started at the fifth trumpet. What was the first woe of the fifth trumpet? This one was the one where the bottomless pit was opened up. This is where the fallen angels come out of another dimension into our dimension, and they look like locusts, symbolically speaking. They have, down here it says, and the locusts look like horses prepared for battle. Not that they were horses, but they look like horses prepared for battle, meaning that they were lining up just like horses, like you see in some of these old day movies where the horses are right next to each other in rank and file. Okay, this is what it's saying about these fallen ones. They're going to be lined up like horses ready for battle, and their heads were crowns like gold. They had crowns like gold. This is letting you know that they are not humans. They are different. Their faces were like the faces of men. Not that they were men, but their faces were like men. And they had hair like women's hair. So they have long, flowing type of hair, or what looks like hair. Okay? And their teeth were like lion's teeth. So the imagery that we're getting here is that these things do not look pretty. They do not look pretty. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and sounds of their wings was like the sound of chariots, as many horses running into battle. And they have tails like scorpions and stings, and in their tails is their authority or their power to harm men for 5 months. This was the first woe right here. The first woe is past. See, 2 woes are still coming after this. Okay. So then the 6th messenger sounds. So this is the 6th trumpet that's going off. This is where a third of all humans are going to be unalived. Okay. Again, saying, release the 4 messengers, the 4 angels, those having been bound at the great river Euphrates. Me and Aki Al and our Cody Erica was talking about this last night a little bit, about the great river Euphrates already drying up. I know many of you have seen videos and pictures and heard postings about this. It's true. It is drying up. Okay. It is preparing for that day, the hour and the day, the month and the year were released to kill or unalive a third of Adam's kind. A third of Adam's kind. This is a third of what is left after a quarter has already been destroyed by this world war that is literally at our footsteps right now, outside of our door right now. Okay, so there's going to be the first huge unalivement that is going to happen is during this world war that's coming. A quarter of them are going to die. A quarter of the earth's population at the time of the world war, a quarter of the earth's population is going to be exterminated because of the war and that stuff that follows after the war, like disease and hunger and pestilence. All this is going to happen right after the war. So when all that is done, Yahuwah is saying that a quarter of the earth's population would have been unalived from those events. Those are the seals. Now here in the trumpet judgments, we're also seeing that a third of what's left from the war, a third of man is going to be unalived. Okay, this is what we're reading here. They were released to unalive a third of Adam's kind, and the number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million, and I heard the number of them. And this is how I saw the horses in the vision. Notice he says in the vision, and those who sat on them, having breastplates of fiery red, jacinth blue, sulfur yellow, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. Red, blue, yellow. Some people like to use flags to say, oh, this represents this country or this represents this country. I personally don't know. I can't speak one way or the other. But what I do know and what I am surmising and understanding, which is only my opinion, this 200 million man army is coming from the east. It's coming from the east. You got China over there with over 1 billion people. You got India over there just south of China with over 1 billion people. Those 2 countries alone could build an army with 200 men, or it could be a mixture of the two, or a mixture of a whole lot of conglomerates of nations, and China and India is in the mix with these other nations. Nonetheless, they're coming from the east to go towards Jerusalem. Okay. And so it says, and this is how I saw the horses, and we go all into that here. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouth came fire, smoke, and sulfur. Remember, we're dealing with what John said that he saw in a vision. When things are said in a vision, and we read things in a vision, there's symbologies and typologies, symbolisms, types and shadows. You can't read it for what it is. There's a lot of symbolic language here, okay? But it goes on and says in verse 18, a third of Adam's kind was unalive by these plagues, by fire, smoke, and sulfur, which came out of their mouth. Now, anybody who's ever shot a pew-pew before, and we're going to talk about this right now, all of you will know this. When you shoot one of these pew-pews, the first thing you see is fire. What follows after the fire is the gun smoke. What comes after the gun smoke? A smell of the gunpowder that smells like sulfur. So we know that this has to do with weapons, warfare, okay? As far as the colors of these men that are riding these horses, I don't know. No one really knows. We can all give our opinions and act like we know exactly what we're talking about, what's being read here, but truly we don't know. It's all just, just observations of opinions and what we think. But anyhow, A third of mankind, or Adam's kind, is going to be unalive by these weapons. Verse 13, for the authority of the horses in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails are like serpents, having heads, and with them they do harm. I used to think that this was a tank. Again, I don't know. That's just my opinion. And the rest of Adam's kind who were not unalive by these plagues did not turn back or repent of the works of their hands, that they should not worship the demons and the idols of gold and silver and brass and stone, of wood, the cross, which are neither able to see nor to hear nor to walk. So all of these ideological, or I should say idol imageries of all these religious symbols and all of their religious idols of deities, they still didn't stop. They didn't relent from what they believe in. They're continuing on with their traditions of men. People are still going to be Christian. People are still going to be Muslims. People are still going to be Buddhists, and they're going to worship whatever it is that they feel is going to help them at this time of their need. And they did not repent of their murders, nor their drug sorceries, nor their whoring, nor their thefts. All of this right here is talking spiritually. They've gone astray from Yahuah. They've gone astray from Yahuah. Okay, so that is the two witnesses. Okay, so let's see here. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's see. First Enoch 72:15 speaks about 30 mornings. Mike, what about oh, you're talking to Paul. Okay. I thought you was asking me a question. Yes, Don, what is it that you asked me? Aki Bob, can you speak on Shepherd in your me? Oh, this is what you sent me earlier. Their flocks away, or should we wait till SAT so I can? Yeah, let's wait till SAT so you can come up so we can walk through that together, Aki. Mr. Kane, yes, I know what you're saying as far as what we read in Exodus chapter 13, I believe it is, verse 16, about we are to bind the law upon our hand and between our frontlets of our eyes. A lot of the Seventh-day Adventists like to incorporate that to say that's the opposite of the mark of the beast of Revelation chapter 13, verses 16, 17, and 18. I cannot say that it's not, but I cannot say that it is. What I don't want to do, and I would suggest that none of you do, is to put yourself in a box and expect it to be it. Okay, because there's a lot of people who are going around, especially in the SAD community, talking about this Sunday law, this Sunday worship law, and you can't buy, sell, or trade unless you go into this Sunday law, like you have to rest on SUN day. The scripture doesn't say that. Okay, it says that you can't buy or sell unless you have the mark. Okay, this mark is physical. It's physical in the right hand and on the forehead. We don't see right hand terminology in Exodus chapter 13. Yeah, we do see things that seem to, again, say something to that point of binding it in your hands and having it in the frontlets of your eyes. Okay, and people say, well, that's between the eyes would be the forehead. Understood. Binding it on your hand, you would assume that it would be the right hand. Understood. Yet again, we know that Satan counterfeits a lot of things that Yahuah says, but we also know that Yahuah is telling us that we can't buy or sell unless we have this mark. This is how Satan is going to get at us. People, look, you can be in the middle of some deserted island, and you know Yahuwah's calendar, and you're like, I'm not going to receive the mark. Well, that's beautiful. So can we still use that same analogy and say, well, because I'm on this island and no one is forcing me to live out my days buying and selling because I have to rest on a SUN day, That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This has to do with your belly. This has to do with hunger. This has to do with all the creature comforts that we all enjoy right now, to snatch this away from you unless you take this mark in your right hand or on your forehead. This is what we're seeing coming. The digital ID system that the world through AI technology is building right now, just like the scripture said would happen, that he's going to mark every man, woman, and child, that you cannot buy or sell, meaning you're not going to eat, you're not going to have all the creature comforts that you've been enjoying all these years. You're not going to be able to do any of the things that we all take for granted right now unless you take this mark, showing yourself that you are not a terrorist of the state, showing yourself that you are not an enemy of the state, showing yourself that you have gave your allegiance to the state. That's what this mark is all about. And so we see the credit score system that they're using over there in China, the social credit score system in China right now. We know that that's the test bed, the beta bed, or the beta test bed of what they're getting ready to do to the whole world. If they can do it to 1.5 billion, excuse me, people, inhabitants of China, and they can control all those people in China, and there's over 1.5 billion of them, then what is a little bit of measly of 370 million people here in the United Snakes of America, let alone the rest of the earth, where AI technology can do that no man is able to do by sitting in front of a computer and watching every man, woman, and child, making sure that they're supposed to be what they're doing. No, AI is taking over all these things. And so this is getting ready to happen. What we don't want to do is expect it to come a certain way and we get blindsided that it's coming a different way. What you need to do is to expect it to come whichever way it's going to come, so you will flow with what's happening. You will know how to respond. But when you're stuck in a box and you put it in a box, just like so many people put Yahuah in a box and they say, this is who he is and these are his parameters. What is possible with Yahuah is not possible with man. So you can't put him in these parameters that your mind, your finite mind, wants to do so. It's the same thing with his word. You can't put his word in a box and say, this is what it means. This is the interpretation, because Yahuah is going to show you the interpretation of his prophecy. And he says, and you shall know it in that day. You will know it when it happens. No need to guess. No need to assume. We can all have our opinions. We can all talk about what we think is going to happen. Beautiful. One of us might be correct, if not all of us. But Yahuah is going to reveal it to his people. He says he is going to reveal it to his people before he does a matter. This is why he gives us prophecy. But people, again, they want to get caught up into their boxes. And again, I'm not talking to anyone personally here. I'm just saying we cannot limit Yahuwah's word and assume that we know what it means without having verbatim, like just it's like it is lining up, because you know Yahuwah's word lines up, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You have to know how to rightly divide this word of truth. He's going to say something in one spot and you have to connect the dots to another spot. And then from that spot, you're going to connect the dot to another spot, because he says, let every word be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. Let every word be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. That's how we have to read this word. That's how we have to accept this word. That's right, Mr. Kane. Precept upon precept, 100%. That's right, 100%. Michael, how do you survive? How do we survive what? How do we survive what, Michael? CQ, right now, he's talking to all of us in our understanding. He speaks to all of us in our own language. But there's a day coming where we're not going to be speaking this language anymore, and he's going to do that. Almost as if he is downloading some new information, like in the movie Matrix, right? You're plugged into his system, and he's going to give you that truth. Let me see. I'm catching up here. Jacqueline, JSO, you say dollar is being phased out, discontinued, and the cryptocurrency is beginning. Yes, 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 indeed, it is. That's why they're setting everything up. They are spending $500 billion on the infrastructure. Do you hear what I'm saying, Mishpachah family? 500 billion, $500 billion. Okay? You can't tell me if they want to wipe out, the national debt, they could do it. They can do it. If you can just give 500 billion to an infrastructure, then you can take 500 billion to wipe out 500 billion. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they don't want to do that. They want to keep all of us in servitude. They want us all creating their empire, their Pharaoh empire, their Caesar empire, their satanic empire. So they have to keep us in debt. Even the people who think they're not in debt, you're using debt instruments called the greenback, the dollar bill. They're debt instruments. Look at it. It'll tell you it's a debt note. You're not using dollars. You're not using gold and silver and precious stones. We're using paper that's got spells on it. This piece of paper says 100. We believe that it's worth 100. You got the same piece of paper with different ink on it. It's the same ink, but different print. And they say this one's $5 or this one's $1. What makes it any different? It's what's on it. They got you believing the spell of the dollar bill and what it represents. This one is 1, this denomination is 5, this denomination is 10, this denomination is 20, this denomination is 50, and so on it goes. Mm-hmm. Okay, what else we got here? As I'm chomping in y'all's ears, I apologize. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Akodi Marguerite. Great to see you here. Shabbat Shalom, Akodi. Yes. From the day we were born, in these Western civilizations, not all countries, but these Western civilizations, they attach to us at birth what we are and how much we are to their economy. Hence why we get a certificate of birth. Okay? A certificate is not telling you that you have the authentic document. You have a certificate of the document. All right? This is how they get us, once again, to see what they want us to see. Let's see, where does he say SAT day? Oh. Let's see, and a number, it's a count. Yep. Yes, it is. Definitely. Definitely. Diane says, Aki, would you happen to know who Ephraim is as to why he is cut off according to Hosea and not found in Revelation nor Ezekiel? I do not, Diane, as to why Ephraim is cut off. But again, Ephraim, the name is probably what's cut off, but he is intermingled not only with his brother Manasseh, but he's also connected to his dad Joseph as two of the tribes. Remember, Joseph gets a double portion at Ephraim and Manasseh. It might be that Ephraim's name has been removed, but he has molded into the other tribes, but not identified by his name, just like Dan. Dan is not going to be identified anymore either, but he will melt into the other tribes. Okay, what else do we have here? Also, we are money as soon as we're born. Yep. Still trading humans. That's right, Cody Chanel. Shabbat Shalom, Cody. Yes, we're strong, man. I see a lot of you understand sovereignty movement. That is also another trap. Don't get into the sovereignty movement. I did it myself before. There's so much truth to that. Okay, it all lines up with scripture, but at the same time, they're not going to give you the remedy that you seek. They will not give you the remedy that you seek. They will unalive you before they give you the remedy. Because if you get the remedy, then everyone else is going to follow your coattails and they're going to do the same thing. And guess what? These people will not be in power anymore. You think they're that dumb? Like everybody's going to figure out, oh, I want my money. You got a hidden account with my... And again, all this is true, but they're not going to give it to you. Everybody who's talking this mess on TikTok and on YouTube, they can't bring you no receipts. They're showing you all this documentation, but nobody's showing you that they actually receive the money. Not one. Not one. You know why? Because everything that they're showing you is a lie. There's truth to what it is with the accounts, but they are not going to give you that remedy. They won't do it. They won't do it. Because if they do it for one, they're going to have to do it for all. And we'll all be standing in line just like at a welfare line. Like, oh, where's mine? Where's mine? Michael, you say, so you just abandoned it? Oh, yeah. There's no need to look into that. You're fighting against something that you're not supposed to be fighting against. That's not your battle. Okay. We're wanting to, most people who are going down that line of seeking their own sovereignty, and they're going into getting their remedy from the state, they're taking their eyes off of Yahuah. They're looking at monetary value. Stop looking at monetary value. You see, the Basora, the great news, is a universal message. It's a universal great news to all who believe and trust and obey Yahusha. Okay? When you put your trust in these certificates and the bank accounts that are associated with them, you're taking your eyes off of Yahuah and you're trying to get your remedy here on this earth. This was never our home. This is why Yahusha said when they try to test him, when they say, do we pay our taxes to Caesar? He said, show me a coin. And what did he say to them? Whose inscription and image do you see on this coin? They said Caesar. He said, well, then you give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give it to him. And you give to Yahuah what belongs to him, which is obedience. Nowhere in his scriptures does he ever say, go and find your worth in the government. They got an account with your name on it. Go get it. No, our treasure is not in this earth. Our treasure is in the Shamayim, in the heavens. That's your remedy. Yahusha is your remedy, not your birth certificate. They created that and they're using that against us. And some of us are so stupid. I'm not talking about anybody individually. Some of us are so stupid that we're going to waste all kinds of time, all kinds of money, all kinds of headache, and all kinds of stuff that we're just in. I mean, we just got ourselves chasing this big old I guess no other way that I can put it than a lottery where you're going to get all this money, millions and millions of dollars since your birth, and you're expecting it to be given to you after you done did all this so-called paperwork. Again, it's true. No denying that these accounts exist, okay? But you tell me of one person, flesh and blood, somebody that you know, not somebody you've seen on TikTok or Instagram or on YouTube. No, somebody you know physically. And if you're that person, show us the receipts that they gave you all that money. Because I guarantee you, if they did, they're coming after you. You are marked for death. They're taking you out. Because they ain't going to let you spread that and show them how you got that money if they gave it to you. And all those people talking that mess, the only little things that they're giving you is you get this piece of paper from the Secretary of State of your state Okay, you get this placard saying that you're exempt, so you can drive on their highways because you're not doing any kind of commerce. Okay, yeah, everybody can do that. Okay, everybody can do that. But show me where they're going to give you a house. Show me where they're going to give you your beautiful car. You get to choose one. I've heard all these stories. Okay. Show me your bank account where you have your own federal bank account that has zeros and zeros and zeros behind a digit. Show me one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Stella. They're shutting it down. Again, the information is true, right? It's true. But they're not going to allow everybody to go out there and disconnect themselves and divorce themselves from their corporation. No way. They will unalive you. Mm-hmm. And some of the stuff that they give you from Social Security, that's stuff that we paid into with sweat and with our bodies and with hours of working. So they're just giving you back your money. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you get into their money that they're using on your behalf, that has your name on it, as you being the straw man, no siree. I'm going to tell you something. When I was in the feds, true story. When I was in the feds, when I was doing my 8.5 years in the federal penitentiary, there was people that I was locked up with who got locked up for following their sovereignty movements. I used to sit down with them for hours, like, well, what did you do? And they were still doing it even after they were locked up. They were still sending out pushing paper and going to the law library and typing up stuff and sending them out to the Secretary of State, to the IRS and all these other alphabet agencies, right? And some of it they'll get information back saying, well, we need this, we need that, or you don't have that, you have to get this notarized and all that. I'm telling you, some of these guys got more time because they were trying to get this stuff. Again, it's real. I believe it. I know it's real. I've seen it. But they're not going to give you the remedy. They won't. Okay. But anyhow, let's get back on to what we're talking about. Let's talk about what Yahuah is all about. All that stuff there, that's Satan's devices. We're not dealing with that. Yeah, I'm over here chewing on some beef jerky. So delicious. Sorry that I'm over here chewing all in y'all's mouth. I mean, ear from my mouth. Okay. So what kind of questions do we have scripturally based? What do we have here? Paul, Aki Jimmy, Mike was trying to help me read about how many days are in each month to show my friend. Yes, that would be Enoch chapter 72. Enoch chapter 72. Oh no, Joanna. I gotta slow down on my sugary treats like gummies. Your Aki's getting a little thick around the waist. Mm-hmm. I gotta stay tip top shape in case I gotta run into this wilderness in the next few years here, if not the next couple months. Have some of these fat reserves on me. Yep, Enoch 72. Angelie, you say, what is the pale horse? Okay, so in Revelation chapter 6, where it talks about the pale horse, let me chew this so I'm not talking with my mouth full. So Revelation 6, the fourth seal, when he opened the fourth seal, verse 7, I heard the voice of the fourth living being saying, come and see. And I looked and saw a green horse, yours will say pale horse, and he who sat on it had a name, Death and Sheol, or the grave, followed with him. And authority was given to him, or them, over a fourth of the earth, to be unalive with the sword, with hunger, with death, and beasts of the earth. So the fourth seal, or the pale horse, is a mixture of the three that came before it. Okay, notice here it's talking about they were unalive by the sword, they were unalive by hunger, and they were unalive by death, which is diseases, and by the beasts of the earth. So if you go back here and you look again, they were unalive by the sword. That's the second horse. Okay, the second horse is this great sword that was given. This is where peace was taken from the earth. This is war. This is war. All right, that was with the weapon. They were killed with the sword. Okay, a great sword was given to him. Then it goes on and says, and with hunger, that's the third beast, or the third seal. Again, a measure for a wheat for a denarius and 3 measures for barley, and do not harm the oil and the wine. This is a scarcity of food. This is a famine situation. Okay, that would be hunger. Death, that's over here, also known as the first seal, or the white horse. I looked and saw the white horse, and he who sat on it was holding a bow. That should be, was holding a toxin, like poison. And crown, corona, was given to him. And he went out overcoming to overcome. This has already happened. COVID-19, 2019, all the way into 2020, people started taking injections, right? People are already unaliving. They're still being unalived by this. So the pale horse, right here, the fourth seal, is a conglomeration of the other three that preceded it. A fourth of the people of the earth are going to be unalive by the coronavirus, by the world war, and by hunger, okay, or famine. And the beasts of the earth right here is talking about our leaders, the leaders of the earth. They are the beasts, just like the anti-Messiah in Revelation chapter 13 is called the first beast, and then there was a second beast, and then there were also 10 beasts who were the 10 horns on the red dragon. These are the other beasts of the earth, okay? They're the ones who will also be unaliving us because of their policies and them coming after us and looking for us. All of this is talking about this martial law, or this prison planet that we're about to find ourselves in, that you must be marked. This is Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 to 8, what we just read about. Nicole, you see you have a question about Daniel 9:24-27, and if it might correlate to Exodus 12, verse 40 to 41. Okay, I already know what Daniel 24-27 is. Let me go to Exodus 12, 40 to 41. Now, Exodus 12 talks about the beginning of the year. So it must have something to do, I'm assuming, about them coming out of Egypt. Let me see, 12, 40 and 41. 40 and 41. Let's see what it says here. And it came to be at the end of the 430 years, on that same day, it came to be that all the divisions of Yahuah went out of the land of Mitzrayim, and it is a night of watches unto Yahuah for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Yahuah for all the children of Yasharal throughout their generations. And Yahuah said to Moshe and Aaron, "This is the law of the Pesach, no son and stranger." Okay, so let me back up. And the sojourn of the children of Yashua who lived in Mitzrayim was 430 years. And it came to the end of the 430 years. On the same day, it came to be that all the divisions of Yahuah went out from the land of Mitzrayim. It is a night of watches to Yahuah for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Yahuah for the children of Yasharal throughout all their generations. That is quite interesting there. Yes, Kodash, they were in Egypt for 430 years. Yes. They were not enslaved for 430 years, though. Let me just go back and look at this real quick. Nicole, what is your connection between Daniel chapter 9, verses 24 to 27, where it talks about the 70th week of Daniel, as we call it, and this passage that we just read from Exodus chapter 12, verses 40 and 41? I'm just trying to make sense of why are you correlating the two? How they're making sense to you of the two? I'm not sure if I was thinking the 62 weeks from Messiah correlate. Oh, I see what you're doing. No, because so the 430 years that you read there has to do with the sojourning of the children of Israel from the time that Jacob and the other 69 souls, or 70 including Jacob, came down to Egypt, where they were told to come down because of his son Joseph, where they were going to dwell there in Egypt because of this famine that had hit the land of Canaan that was very harsh. And so they stayed there in Egypt all the way through. And we were talking about this earlier, where they lived in the land of Goshen in Egypt, which was the choicest of lands in Egypt. It was literally by the river Nile, where you have all the fertile soil. So all their cattle and everything else, their grain, everything was just plush. But to understand why you're saying, how it might correlate with the Messiah. So there it says the 62 weeks, okay, so 62 sevens, and then it says, and 7, how does it say it? Let's go there real quick. I'm messing that up. 62 weeks, because it all comes out to 69 weeks, okay? And the Messiah shall be cut off, but not to himself. So you are starting here. 70 weeks are decreed or determined for your people, for the set apart city, and to put an end to transgression, and to seal up the sins or transgressions, and to cover the crookedness, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophet, and to anoint the most set apart. Know then and understand from the going forth of this command to restoring and build Yahushalom until the Messiah, the Prince, 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Okay, so that's 62 plus 7. That gives you 69 weeks. Okay, because remember, it's 70 weeks that we're talking about altogether. So 7 plus 62 gives you 69 weeks. It shall be built again with streets and with trenches, but in times of affliction. And after 62 weeks, the Messiah shall be cut off and have nothing. Okay, he shall be cut off, meaning he shall be unalived. And the people of the coming prince, which was Rome, shall destroy the city, which is Jerusalem, and the set apart place, which is the temple, just like the Messiah said in Matthew 24, that not one stone shall be left upon another that shall not be thrown down. And it says, and the end of it shall be with the flood, and the waste are decreed, and fighting until the end. So this fighting lets us know that the governments will continue to fight until the end. What end is that? Until he cracks that sky. So now it goes back here and it says, and he shall confirm an agreement with many for 1 week. So this completes the 62 plus the 7, which is 69 weeks. Now you have the final 70th week, this 1 week. And in the middle of that week, or in the middle of the 7-year period, he This anti-Messiah shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering, and on a wing of an abomination, or that is, this thing that's detestable, he shall lay waste, even until the complete end. That which is decreed is poured out on that who lays waste, which we know to be the anti-Messiah. So, CQ, the flood here is not talking about a literal flood of water. It's talking about the flood of what is happening with the militaries, okay? Many times a flood is a representation of many people, usually representing military. Military is considered like a flood, like it says here in Revelation chapter 12. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river. Some translations say like a flood after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river or by the flood. Okay. And it says, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river, or swallowed up the flood. This military, okay, that came out of the dragon's mouth, that spewed out of his mouth. This is his command to his satanic army that is going to be incorporated with this new world order army. He's going to give them a command to go after the 144,000. That's the woman. But the woman is given two wings of a great eagle, and she's gone. So he can't find her. So he's enraged with the woman, and he goes after the rest of us who have been taught by the teachings of the 144,000. So he goes out and he makes war with us. And this is what we're reading, how he goes after those of us who are keeping the commandments of Yahuah Elohim, and who have or possess the witness, the testimony of Yahusha, the Messiah. Okay. So that's what that is. Now, somebody else asked me a question, and I apologize that I'm missing some of your questions here. Let's see. I'm going back, trying to find some of these questions here. Excuse me, I'm over here burping. CQ, you had asked a question, and I don't know if I see it. You might have to bring it back so I can see what your question was. Yes, give me likes, please. Give me a whole bunch of likes, everyone. Tap, 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 the tap, tap, tap. So not taking the mark means you'll be unalived. Michael, most likely yes. Okay. But there's a chance, a great chance, Michael, for those of us who are paying attention to the instructions of our Messiah. Matthew 24. Let's go there. Oh, I did answer it? Okay, CQ. In Matthew 24, he says this. Verse 15, so when you see the abomination that lays waste, this is what we're just reading in Daniel chapter 9, spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, the Nabi, set up in the set apart place. He who reads, let him understand. So this thing that is going to be set up is the abomination, okay, the third temple. Once the third temple is set up, in the set apart place, you see, people take the set apart place and they think that's the temple. No, they're going to set up the temple in that location, just like Jacob when he laid there. Remember the story of Jacob's ladder, and he laid there. He put his head on a stone, and he said when he closed there, he saw the Malachim ascending and descending from this location. He said, truly, this must be the place of the house of Yahuah. We're talking about the land area. Okay, they're going to set up this so-called fake third temple that they're getting ready to erect. This is the abomination that's going to cause destruction. Yahuah is going to destroy what they're doing because he did not tell them to build that temple over there. So this is what it's talking about here. Okay, but notice what it says after that. Then let those who are in Yehuda, geographically located in Yehuda, flee to the mountains. Then it says, and let him who is on the housetop, this is not Yahudah now we're talking about other places of the world, not come down to take whatever out of his house. Okay, this is worldwide, wherever you live. If you're on top of, and again, the analogy of the housetop, back in those days, people had flat tops of their roofs. Okay, like they're looking at something, they're seeing something. That's where they would go dry out their fish, dry out some of their foods, dry out their clothes. You know, there's some of us probably think of it as our man cave. Who knows? But that's the way a lot of the homes in old ancient Israel were set up. You'll still go to some of these places now, and you'll see that they have a place on top of their roof. You know, here in the Americas, most of us, we have, you know, roofs that we don't go on top of. They're making some houses now, like here in Vegas, that are like 3 stories, and on top of the 3rd story on the roof is a flat top, and they have, you know, some people have gazebos up there, some people have jacuzzis up there, their barbecue grill. But anyhow, he's saying, if you're on top of the house, don't come down to take whatever out of his house. This is how fast this is going to happen. Let him who is in the field, meaning at work, not return back to get his garments. Like, don't go home to get your clothes, okay? Whatever you have on is going to be sufficient. Don't go back home to get your bug out bag and all the stuff that you've been putting together, hoping for that day for preparation, that you prep for this day. No, Yahuah is your prep. You hear what I'm saying? Yahuah is your prep. This is why he's been preparing his people to come back to his instructions, back to his law. This is our preparation. We don't prepare by buying the materialism stuff of this world and say, okay, because again, my wife and I, along with one of my buddies at the time, we spent thousands of dollars in prep. I mean, I've shown some of you guys the food that I got around here. Most of this food, I guarantee you, is not going to be for me and my wife and the dogs. It's going to be for other people in my family who did not believe or who do not believe. They're going to come here because they know we got this food here. And because they're not prepping themselves and they're not going to follow Yahuah, they're not going to leave society and go into the woods like we're getting ready to go into the woods. So they're going to come over here and they'll be like, well, I know Jimmy's got some stuff at his house. We just got to get in. We'll break in and we'll get his food so we can eat, because he ain't going to be there. Exactly. I'm not going to be there. Why? Because I done left. I done skedaddled. I ain't trying to be here part of this beast system. I'm out of here. Now, if they want to get me while I'm getting out here, so be it. That's the way it was supposed to be. That's how it was written in my life. But I'm not giving up and I'm not giving in. So it goes on to say here, and woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing children in those days. Again, it's not talking about just the people in Judah, in Yahudah, in the land of Israel. No, this is worldwide. Those who are nursing babies in those days and those who are pregnant in those days. Why? Because it's going to be hard for you to run, hard for you to flee when you got a big old belly, okay? And you got a little baby that's getting ready to come, or you who are nursing a child. You're still weak. You're just getting back on your feet. You're going to be a little slow. You haven't fully recuperated from your pregnancy yet. This is why he's saying, woe to those who are pregnant, who are nursing babes in those days. And then he goes on and says, and palal that your flight, when you flee, does not take place in the winter like it is right now north of the equator, or on a Shabbat like it is today. What if while we're over here talking and none of us are paying attention and all of a sudden nukes are flying? We don't know what's going on until one hits in our area or somebody's able to tell us, hey, this is what happened. What? Most of us are probably panic right now and be like, what do I do? What do I do? Aki, Jimmy, what are you going to do? Where are you going to meet? No, settle down. Settle down. Follow his instructions. Flee. Go. Get out of your cities. These are the areas that are going to be dangerous to us. You can't be in no civilization. Humans are going to be your enemies. You hear what I'm saying? If your own family is your enemy, what do you think people who don't know you are going to do to you? They're going to turn you in. This is why the mark is physical. It's not, they're not going to be able to look at you yet like, I think that person doesn't worship on Sunday. You know what? We need to check his credentials. Let's see if he works on Sunday. This is ridiculous. Again, Seventh-day Adventist has put this in the minds of so many people about this 7-day Sunday law. Has nothing to do with that. Those are archaic thoughts of a Ellen G. White who done told all of her followers, her believers, believing that she was a prophetess, talking about this great controversy, that all this is going to happen on this Sunday law. Hogwash. Stop listening to these blind guides. And they're all dead, by the way. Ellen G. White don't live right now. I guarantee you, after she done saw the face of him who created her, she was like, wow, I was really wrong in a lot of places thinking that I knew what I was. Yeah, you sure did. And you stepped out of place because you a woman over here trying to tell people how to live. This has nothing to do with male chauvinism. This has to do with order. This has to do with us being obedient. We all have our roles. All right. Let's see. Who else has a question? Joel, I don't know how to say that. Jodil, Colorado. What were you saying about Ellen G. White? What did you hear, Jody? I said a lot of things about Ellen G. White. That she is a false prophetess. I don't know if you're a SDA, Seventh-day Adventist, or not, but there's a lot of things that woman said has not come true. And if you go with the test of a prophet, then you know that if whoever says that they have been sent by Yahuah, if they're wrong one time, that is a false prophet. And that woman has lied so many times on Yahuah, saying that Yahuah told her this. And of course, she didn't say Yahuah, but she said God, which people believe is who they're talking to anyways. But yeah, she has she's led a lot of people astray. So much so that they got denominations after her. You know, these Seventh-day Adventists. They were all part of the Millerite movement. That's where she comes from the Millerite movement. Rem 144, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dreamwalking Herald. So God wouldn't use a woman to give an order. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. She was placed in a position of leadership. And nowhere in Scripture, we're talking about the Tanakh, Genesis to Malachi. Okay, just like I tell everybody, everything in the New Testament must be validated from the Tanakh, what people have mistranslated or mistermed the Old Testament. Nowhere in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, do you find a woman leading a group of men. Nowhere, not even Deborah, okay, the deaconess. She always said, well, if you listen to me, everything that you have done is going to be to me. You're going to lose all the heralding that should be to you as a man. She understood her position. A lot of men don't. And then you have some who are Jezebel spirits, like a lot of women, who want to be in a position of authority. Now, can Yahuah use a woman? Of course. Can a woman today, like all of us who are Nazarene, can he use her to speak the truth? 100%. 100%. We're all supposed to preach this, okay? But there is a limit when it comes to how things are to be done, especially when you set up an assembly, especially, okay? We all have to do everything in order according to Yahuwah's ways. Not because we think everything is right, just because the world has allowed the woman to do what a man does, doesn't mean we do the same thing in Scripture. That's the problem with Christianity. Christianity says, well, you know what? The world allows gays and lesbians to become pastors and preachers and ordains them. Okay. I mean, allows them to be police officers and presidents and all this other stuff or whatever, prime ministers. Okay, we're going to do the same thing in the church. We're going to let women become bishops. We're going to let women become pastors and preachers and all of that stuff. Again, even Shaul, the apostle, understanding who understands the law, says that a woman should not be in the position leading other men. She is to be silent in an assembly. It doesn't mean that she can't teach. It doesn't mean that she can't preach. She's not to be the one ruling over the men as she's the head. That's not how Yahuwah has created things. The man is the head and the woman is the helpmate. This is why he even goes on further to say this. Shaul says that Adam was created first, not the woman. Okay. The woman was created for the man, not the man for the woman. Now, a person can take that the wrong way. They can take it and be like, "Ooh, that I don't like that." No, that's the truth. Either you line up with the truth or you're in rebellion. And that is the problem with Jezebel type women. They're rebellious by nature. The women who are virtuous women, they know how to act. They know who they're to be. They know their position. Okay, let's see what else. Yep, Ram 144. Yep, Yahuwah can raise up a woman to be a prophetess. Yes. But again, the way that people think of the word prophet is not the way that it is being used. Okay, when Yahuwah says that he is going to have in the last days, young men, young women are going to prophesy. Okay, we are going to be speaking. We have been sent out to go seek the lost, to find the sheep. This is what we all have, men and women. We have to go out and we need to share this truth. But when we come in an assembly, when believers come together in an assembly, a woman is not to lead. Has nothing to do with the woman being a woman. This is just what Yahuwah said. This is what he has told us to do. Okay, now if you want to buck that, you want to buck it, you go ahead and buck it all you want. All right, this is why there's so much confusion in Christianity today, because they have loosened the reins of what we're supposed to be obeying. Okay, and if any of you take offense to what I am sharing, I can't apologize for the truth. I can't apologize for the truth. You need to look inside yourself to see why you have that ruach of disobedience or rebelliousness to speak against this truth. The truth is telling you how you are to conduct yourself as a man, as a woman, as a child, as a pastor, as a preacher, as a leader. All of this, we're told how we're to conduct ourselves. Rem 144. There is a woman, a prophet. Her ministry is master voice prophecy. Have you heard of her? I have not. Let me ask you some questions about this woman who's claiming to be a prophetess. Does she know the true name? Rem 144, does this woman know the true name? And I hope it ain't Celestial, because that woman is so gone. She's so lost. Rem, I don't want to look her up. We're here in a live right now. Can you just answer the question? Does she know the name? Does she know the name? Does she know Yahuwah? Rem 144, does she know Yahuwah? She calls him JC. She's a false prophet. Okay, so let's move on. Ahava, you say, could you explain how different tribes would get together or find each other? I know we'll be in hiding, but how would we know if someone is with or against us? We won't know. Again, we're going to be scattered. There's not going to be too much of us coming together because we're all going to be fleeing. Rem 144, again, anyone who is really hearing from Yahuwah is not going to use JC. Anyone who knows Christianity is the beast system would not be doing anything that this girl is talking about. I've heard Celestial. Okay. She, to me, from what I've heard from her, and I use the testing of the prophets be of the testing of the prophets, and that woman is a lie and a scammer. All right. She talks about people. She's using false accusations against people. She calls, and I'm just going to give you an example, okay? Now, I don't know if she's ever pulled the pants down of Serena Williams to know that she's a man or a woman, but she comes right out and say that's a man, okay? Now, I know there's a whole bunch of this that has started with Michelle Obama, Michael Obama, whatever he or she may be. Okay, this is not what we do as so-called prophets and prophetess. All right. We don't smear other people because we assume that they might be a man or assume that they might be a woman. That's not our place. And Yahuwah don't do that. Okay. I would ask all of you to be careful who you are listening to. All it takes is one time for that person who says, thus saith the Lord or JC, or even if they want to put Yahuwah and Yahusha's name on it to get some clout with other people saying that, oh, there's others that recognize his name. Okay, well, I'm going to equate Yahuwah with Lord and Yahusha with JC, and then now they got more followers that are listening to her. There's a whole slew of these type of people on these social media platforms. All right, and they're leading a lot of people away. So this is why I was asking the question: does he or she, or this in this particular case, does she, Celestial, know him as Yahuwah? And she doesn't, because if she's still toggling between the two, she don't know Yahuwah. She would know to keep that name out of her mouth. The only reason why that woman has the following that she has is because people are being entertaining or entertained by her. She is nothing but smut for people who are listening to her. That's all she is. All she does is talk about people. It's always about somebody. It's always about this individual or that individual or this thing or this is going to happen. Go back and look at some of her stuff. You'll see all the stuff that she's talking about is just garbage. It ain't no different than listening to the psychic Cleopatra or whatever, the Cleo the psychic or whatever she was called back in the day. This woman is just the same, got the same aura, the same type of spirit, ruach on her. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to spend time talking about that woman. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. What else? What other kind of questions we want to talk about here or comments? Ginger, you say, is divorce permitted if we weren't in the truth when we married? Do we stop interacting with family if they continue? No, we don't. We don't, Ginger. Long story short, if you're with somebody, you don't divorce them because of your understanding now in the truth. That you're not supposed to do. Okay, we can read about some of that in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 or chapter 7. And as well as for the family, no, you don't turn your back on your family. Yahuwah didn't turn his back on us. We're to show the same kind of mercy and compassion and long suffering to those who don't know what we know. Okay, but when you have people who are blatant, who are disrespectful, okay, he's going to make your forehead like flint, just like their forehead is flint. It's going to cause friction. All right, it's not going to turn out well. But Yahuwah is doing that for a purpose because his word is going forth and he is going to show that person that they are wrong and they came against one of his anointed ones and his word. But divorce is never permitted All right. The only why it's permitted, like Yahusha says, because of sexual immorality, for cheating, which is the whole reason why he says he will also divorce us for the same thing, for spiritually cheating on him by going against his word, by going against his instructions. He will give us a certificate of divorce. Same thing with our husband or our wife. Okay. We stick it out with them. Yeah. But if they want to give us a certificate of divorce because they're falling away from us, then we let them go. We let them go. But you are no longer under that vow, that agreement, that bond that you had with the person who never believed when you met them. They weren't believers then, and they're still not a believer after you came to this understanding. So if you get married again, it would have to be with somebody who believes as you believe. Now, if you divorce a person who believes and you believe, both of you believe, your eyes are open to this truth, you cannot get remarried until one of you pass away. Let's see. Let's see. What else we got here? Lachey, you said, should we be cremated? If you're able to, no, don't be cremated. I know sometimes some of us can't help it. Again, usually that happens with a will, right? Your will says, I don't want to be cremated or something like that. Most people, when they pass away, it happens so fast, and some people don't have wills, and maybe the family doesn't have money. So instead of burying them, which costs money because you have to buy a burial lot, the cheapest way is to cremate. So there's a lot of that going on. But again, cremation came about because Satan wanted to destroy a body that cannot be resurrected. But we know Yahuah can resurrect our bodies, no matter what they've done with our ashes. They can throw it up in the sky out of a jet plane and fly across 2 states. Yahuah bring back every piece of that material together, every atom that makes our bodies, because he knows where they're at, so that that body will be resurrected. He's able to do that. With him, it's possible. With men, it's impossible. Okay, let's see. What else have we got here? Exactly. You can't. My whole family doesn't know Yahuah. I just keep prolonging for them and plant seeds. That's right, Don. That's all we can do. Can I ask you a question? Yes, girls of revival. Definitely. Let me see here. I am way behind you guys. I'm trying to catch up. I'm just making sure that I didn't pass anybody's questions. Jack, you said, what if 2 walking in truth and 1 cheats? If that one cheats and you're both walking in truth, if you're talking about they're not being monogamous with you, they're cheating, having extramarital affairs, you have the right to give them a certificate of divorce, like the Messiah says. It doesn't mean that you have to, but that is a grounds for you to send them on their way. Is smoking a form of burning incense? If yes, can one smoke unto Yahuah? Mr. K, no. In fact, it's coming to my understanding that smoking, to smoke, you have to use fire to get it to start, right? And we know that incense, according to Yahuah, is frankincense and myrrh, okay? Frankincense and myrrh. So tobacco is not going to be that. The MJ is not going to be that. All these other things that somebody may want to smoke, it's not that. So it's totally different. Totally different. Yes, Amadora, we'll definitely pull off for Yora's 9-year-old nephew. Strange fire. Okay, let's pull off for Jorah, Yora's, oh, excuse me, whew, Yora's 9-year-old nephew. Heavenly Abba Yahuah, Abba, this innocent young child is battling with a stroke, oh Abba Yahuah. We don't know the cause or the reason, oh Abba, why things like this happen to such young people. But Abba, we ask that this opportunity be used for those that are around the family and for that young son, the nephew, that others' eyes will be open to the truth, oh Abba. For we all know, Yah, we all fall short of you. And we know that you will make a way when there seems to be no way. And you will take any opportunity, oh Abba, to use a situation to open up the eyes of your people. May this be one of those situations, oh Yah, that you open up the eyes of those that are around this young boy that is only but 9 years old. We ask, oh Abba, if it be your will, that you will heal his heart. And any cells that are damaged, that you would rejuvenate it back to even better than it was before. May his heart be strong. May all of his circulatory system, oh Abba, be clean and pure and nothing be wrong with it, oh Yah. This is our palal before you. All these things we ask in the mighty name of your Ben Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Amat. Okay. Let's see. Kodesh Collective, you said, did I miss the reading you were going to share about new info you have on the counter? Yes, you did, Kodesh Collective, but it should be up by now on this YouTube channel. It'll be up for the next week until next weekend, but it'll be off of there. But if you want to see it and you haven't seen it, just shoot me an email and I'll send you a link once it's taken down. But for right now, it'll be up for the next week. Is lighting a cigarette on the Shabbat a sin? Well, I mean, Jackie, what do you think? What do you think, Cody? We are not supposed to use any fire on Shabbat. Aman, is that not correct? Oh, amen. Is that not? Well, the thing is about the pronunciation of Aman, amen, amun, amin. The problem is that many of us don't know what it is. I don't personally know what is the true pronunciation. The problem is that the word amen or aman or amun or amin, however you want to pronounce it, is also associated with an Egyptian deity by the same three letters, A-M-N. And so you can either say, so be it, to just stay away from it, or like some of us say, which is amat, which means the truth. Okay, let's see here. Do, 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 do. Let's see. What if we have no money to flee? 7 Series music, it's not going to cost you any money to flee. What it's going to cost you is obedience. You're going to have to obey. Okay, it's not about money. You using money, you can't even use money. The only way you're going to be able to use money when it's time to flee is you're going to have to take the mark. So it's not about money to flee. 7 Series. Cadillac, what about family members who worship and have false images like Santa Muerte in their house? We avoid visiting them? No, because those things can't harm you. They can't do anything to you. Spells only work if you have accepted the spells, just like Christianity is a spell. The only way you believe that Christianity is the truth is because you've believed the lie. That is a spell. Okay, so spells don't work unless you have acknowledged that the spell is true. You might not know it as a spell because what you're thinking is the truth is actually a spell. You're under a strong delusion. That is the spell. But no, you go to a family's home, like me and Maya Shah, my wife, will go to her family's side of the house and they'll have Buddha statues. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't step in this room or this house because you got a statue of Buddha. I could care less about that statue. I know that thing isn't real. I know that people might look at it as being real and they're praying to this idol or image, but to me, that's nothing but just an object. It means nothing to me. Amadora, you said that somebody accused me of being corrupt. Who was the one who says that I am corrupt? I would just like to know so I can see them next time and say, thank you for calling me corrupt. Michael, you say, are we called to sell out things and buy a sword? Sell our things, I think is what you're saying, and buy a sword or to turn the cheek in the last Yaums. So that question is not as easy as it sounds. So yes, you should have a weapon. Yes, you should defend yourself in your home front. But when it comes to the truth, you don't use your weapon. You lay it down. That's where you turn the other cheek. When the Messiah says to turn the other cheek, he's talking to his disciples because of the truth. You turn the other cheek. It has nothing to do. If somebody goes and slaps my wife, you think I'm just going to tell, take it, baby. No, I'm going to defend her. Okay? In fact, I'm going to try my best to not to let the person put their hand on my wife to begin with. They're going to get something from me. All right? But if they're putting their hands on her because of our belief, that's different. We take that. Yahuah is going to fight that battle. Camry, yes, Camry, text me. And also Camry, I know we talked about having you come up and to share your music. We need to do that. Yahuah willing, let's see if we can do that next week. I know we were supposed to do that like a couple weeks ago, but I would like to still, if it's okay, have you come up and share your music that you've been doing. Amadora, what do you say? What, not me? I don't follow you, Cody Amadora. Okay. I'll be looking out for it, Camry. You don't have my number, Camry? I thought we had each other's numbers, no? Oh yeah, I ain't gonna forget about you, Aki Chris. I got you on my calendar. So no, I'm not gonna forget about you. In fact, since we're talking about it, our Aki Chris is coming out here. He's the one, by the way, that set up the ambassadors of Yah.com, Chris Yahoo. And he did that on our behalf, which is so wonderful. Tuda Ata Aki. He's coming out here to get immersed this weekend coming up. So we're going to take the polar plunge over here in Lake Las Vegas, Lake Mead, which is outside of Las Vegas. And yeah, so we'll have that recorded and we'll share it with you all. But yes, I'm looking forward to it, Aki Chris. You don't want to be famous. I just wanted to meet you and give you a huge hug. Oh no, you famous already, Aki. We all famous in the names of in the eyes of Yahuah. Not Serene Warrior, you said, Aki Jimmy, how about canned goods or foods that we buy in grocery stores that have halal mark for the Muslims? Is it okay to eat that? Yes, of course, long as again it follows our dietary laws. Now, again, just because the Muslims say that it's halal, for those of you who don't know what halal is, it's their version of kosher. Okay. I would still check it, make sure that it is clean and not unclean. And and again, you can only do what you can, like we were talking about earlier. Some of us be putting yokes on others because this is what we eat and this is what we understand. But there are things that are just cut and dry. All right. You're not going to be able to go through everything that's in this world and look at the ingredients and say that this is clean because, again, we don't know what they're doing in some of these places that are manufacturing these canned goods, who are putting these things together. Okay. So we can do only what we can because, again, we're keeping it before Yahuah. Somebody wants to hide certain things in there. You don't know. You can't. For conscious sake, you halal over your food, knowing that what you have put in your mouth is acceptable by Yahuah. The things that you know that are not acceptable by Yahuah, those are not considered food. So we would never put those in our mouth, like pork or shrimp or lobster. Okay. Miranda, how can you be immersed? Miranda, where do you live, first of all? And we might be able to tell you. I see Diane's already on it. Tudata Akodi. Oh, Aki Owen. I didn't even realize that was you. Great to see you here, Aki. Haven't seen you in a minute. I hope all things are well over there in the Philippines. I know you guys have been getting hammered by some typhoons going through there a lot lately. Minnesota. Ooh, you way over there in the land of 1,000 lakes. Come springtime, if you're able to, are you able to go down towards lower parts of Michigan or parts of Ohio? We have people over there that'll be able to immerse you. Miranda. We got another Miranda here, by the way, as well. Anyone who wants to get a hold of me, my email is ambassadors of Yah, just like this channel, @gmail.com. Yes, Yona Yahoo, a lot of food has pigs hiding in it. Yes, them oinks be up in there. Same question about immersion, Aki Jimmy. I am in Maryland. Yes, Kodesh, we do have people in Maryland that can immerse you. I would say wait until spring. We have some Akis and Akodis that do live in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. Miranda, I thought you were in Minnesota. Now you're saying Arizona. Which I'm so confused. Dawn, what about Tennessee? I know we have our Aki Derek in Kentucky. He might drive down to Tennessee. I don't know if Aki Derek is here today. But again, you're gonna probably want to wait until um, springtime when it's warmer. Do you have anywhere I can fellowship? This is where we fellowship, Miranda. This is why we do this every weekend. There's not too many brick and mortars unless you live in Kansas, where our Aki Dustin lives, and some of those that are in that area, they actually have a brick and mortar place that preaches Yahuah and Yahusha and the commandments. So beautiful. I'm hoping to go there one of these days and meet some of our Akis and Akodis over there in the Kansas area. Oh, is that what you're saying, Miranda? Yes. So we're going to be coming together for Pesach, also known as Passover, April 1st to April 4th. At least that is the tentative dates right now. That's what we're pushing for. We have some logistics that we need to take care of here. Have some others that are helping me, like my Kuti Stella, and so yeah, this is going to be a group effort, and we'll see what happens as the time gets closer. But yes, we're solidifying some things here. People are sending their deposits. Not today though. Not today. Today is Shabbat. Um, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sending that over to our Cody Stella so she can um, secure the Airbnb for us. And the rest of the money is going to be for food. Pretty much, yeah. And that'll be it, really. Yeah. We're going to have a great time. We always have a great time when we all come together. Yes, so again, for those of you who want to gather with us for the Pesach coming up here, April 2nd, and then we have the first day of unleavened bread, April 3rd. So this is why we want people to come in April 1st and leave on April 4th. You would fly into Phoenix. We'll pick you up from the Phoenix airport, the Sky Harbor International Airport. From there, take you to the Airbnb where we're going to be for the next 4 days and 3 nights, and love on each other, get to know one another, have some studies together, and sing praise to Abba Yahuwah. It's going to be a fantastic time. Fantastic. It always is. No drama. No drama. Angel, you said what? Where in Kansas? The place in Kansas, I don't know. I don't know if our Aki is here today. Dustin. Aki Dustin, I thought I saw him here earlier. Can you share with everyone where you're at, Aki Dustin, in Kansas if you're here? There might be some who want to come and visit. Cody Jack, you said April 1 to the 4th. When can we book our flights, or should we wait for details? Oh no, that's going to be the time. So you might as well go ahead and book it now. But yes, we're going to find a place that is going to be the least of our worries. Just send me an email at ambassadorsofyah@gmail.com, or at Gmail. Yeah, at gmail.com, and I'll give you all the information. Yes, exactly, Stella Yahoo. We haven't made a decision on the location. We just know it's going to be in Phoenix. But as far as the property of the Airbnb where we're going to be at, we have not made a decision on that yet. So everyone who is sending money is going to be a deposit. Okay. Once I collect that money, I'm going to send it over to Cody Stella once we know the location of the Airbnb, and then that's gonna solidify it. Oh, there he is, Aki Dustin. He's in Salina, Kansas. Salina, Kansas. Okay, Cody Victoria. We can't wait to meet you, Cody. Foresight, you can definitely join us. Those of you who live in Arizona, you don't have to worry about sending us your money because you guys live there. The only money that we're going to ask of you, if you are going to come, it would be for the food. So it won't be the amount that everyone else is having to pay, because after you get done with the festivities, you can go back home and lay down at your home, and then you can come back the next day for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then return back to your home. But the rest of us who are flying in or driving in, we need a place to stay. So that's what the Airbnb is for, and that's what most of the deposit money is for. Pursuing the truth. Yes, yes. Salina, Kansas. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We got 1 more hour. 1 more hour, Mishpaka. Yo, Anna, Aki Jimmy, I know it's Shabbat and I'm embarrassed to ask, but we didn't get our goal for my brother's burial, but only cremation. I feel like I failed my brother. No, Your Honor, you did not fail your brother. You did not fail your brother. You know, these are things that life happens. This is what happens, right? As I was sharing earlier, I didn't never really get a chance to talk to you, but let me say this now while I'm on this live. The reason why I didn't share the information about your brother, number one, he's not of the group. Number two, he's not a believer. And I know this may sound harsh, but I just want you to understand. And I'm sure there's people that said this to our Messiah as well when he said what I'm about to share with you. But you need to let the dead bury the dead. These are people who don't believe. Okay? Now, you did not do anything by failing your brother. Not at all. But if you want to put that on yourself, you can. And carry that weight on yourself, you can. But you shouldn't. Okay? Has nothing to do with you. You can only control what is in your means. Nalia, we are going to be on live during Pesach and also for the first day of unleavened bread. No money exchanging today, Akodi Amadora. Today is Shabbat. Definitely tomorrow. Oh, yes, we're doing immersions. Yes, Akodi Stella. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Yes, yeah, and I knew you would understand, Your Honor, but I had to say that when it was brought to my attention, of course, we palawed for you and your family. And those, of course, you're still going to mourn. That's your brother after all. It'd be the same with my family. I would never put it on anyone to help me bury somebody who's not a believer. Okay. It's different if it's a child, somebody who's under the age of accountability. You know, one of our mishpachah was to pass away, and that's a totally different story. Totally different. Let's see here. Aki Emmanuel, I know, Aki. I know how you be feeling. I know how you feel, Aki, and I know a lot of us feel that same way about, we failed our children. Our parents failed us as well. But again, we can only do what we can and redeem the time, redeem what has been taken, how we did not use our time appropriately. And, like for you, Aki Emmanuel, your children are still young, which is beautiful, still impressionable. Even though they might be living with their mama, you still have a lot of influence in their life. Though they might be living with their mama, you still have a lot of influence in their life. Aki, your walk is your witness, and I know they're gonna follow their dad's footsteps. They're gonna follow you up. Paul, the deposit will be $100. Okay, and again, we're not doing that today. I'm only sharing that right now because you asked. But yes, that's what it would be. Okay, and the more of us that come together, the cheaper it's going to get for everybody. Nobody's making money off of this. This is all about us coming together. I just say that as a public announcement. Nobody's making money off of this. Every penny is going to be used, or I guess we can't even say penny anymore because they're not using pennies. Anyhow, let's see what else we got. Miranda, your daughter was recently murdered. Wow. Sorry for your loss. Miranda, you're not alone. You're not alone. We're not only are we with you, but even better than us, the Ruach of our Abba is with you always. That's his promise, that he would never leave us nor forsake us as long as we're his children, as long as we're doing what he's called us to do. He hears your palaws. He knows how you feel. He's ever mindful about you. Okay, Lauren. Well, we'll talk about that later. Again, let's not talk about money exchanges today. Amat, Joanna. Yes, Aki Dustin, as I am too, I'm so thankful that Abba Yahuah has brought me and all of you to this truth. All of you. Let's see. Any other quick? Okay, let's see. Image Man. Hey, Aki, can I ask what type of space do you need? What type of space do I need? Image Man, can you clarify what you're saying so I know what you're talking about? What kind of a space do I need? And Miranda, if I can ask, how old was your daughter? Image. Oh, okay, for the feast and people to stay. So what do you have in mind, Image Man? So I kind of can gauge from what you're saying. What do you have in mind that you say, what kind of a place do we need or location? Lachey, how should we celebrate Pesach? My husband and I will be celebrating this year officially for the first time in the apartment. Oh, that's so beautiful. And Lachey, where do you stay? Where do you stay, Lachey? I have a farm and I am building Yahuwah's house. And where are you at, Image Man? Where are you at? Lachey, you're in Union City, New Jersey. Oh, you over there by the Big Apple. Oh, is this my Aki? Is this Aki Joey? Image Man, Aki Joey? Oh, I know exactly where William is, Aki. Yes, sir. My Aki Joey. Um, we've been talking about your place for a while. The only problem with your place, Aki, is that for people who are flying in, the travel distance to William is all you have is that little regional airport, and I know that's going to cause some issues. The closest airport to you guys that's international would be here in Las Vegas, and to carry that many people, I only have two vehicles that I'm going to be able to use, and out of those two vehicles, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that'll take 12 of us, and we know there's going to be a lot more. We do want to do some feasts over there on your farm, Aki. Um, and we're hoping to do that maybe for Shabuat this year. We'll see what happens. But because of the location of um, of where you're at, it's just not convenient for a lot of people that are coming in. That's the only problem. Other than that, I would love to do all of them there at your farm. I really would. But it's just the location, the distance from both international airports are kind of far, Phoenix and Vegas. Let me see. Did I miss? Let's see. I am working on that. I hope you hope you have several Airbnbs on property. Chandler, Arizona. So it's not going to be too far. I just don't know exactly where in the Phoenix area we're going to have it. But we're once we know, me and Cody Stella. She sent me some stuff and kind of going over these things right now. But as we get closer, we'll have the definite area. Some of us will have physical beds. Some of us are going to have some air mattresses. This ain't going to be Four Seasons, okay? But we're going to make sure everybody's comfortable. Everybody is going to be safe, and you have a place to rest your head, place to take a shower, use the restroom, all of that stuff, food, all of that. So, as the time permits, and then we're going to have to also limit the amount that we're going to probably have as well as far as sleeping quarters, because there's only going to be so much space. But yeah, I mean, we know that it's going to keep getting bigger every year, Yahuwah willing, as far of us coming together. The one thing that we do want as all of us come together is that we're just not sitting around, but that we're all helping with the facilitating of what we're doing, be it the cooking, the cleaning, um, prepping the food, all of that stuff. So all hands are going to be on deck. We're all coming together to serve one another. Okay? We're to serve each other, not to be served. Jesus. The fact that you use that name and you say many places in the Bible, I have read about the son of Adam. You know who he is? I do know who the true Messiah is and his true name. I do. I do. I guess my question would be to you, do you know his true name? Do 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 do. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All praises to Abba Yahuwah. Mm-hmm. I want to play a song that one of our Mishpachah has sent. Give me a segundo. Let me back up a little bit. Let me back up a little bit. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, so this song from Wendy